Do you know what these are? Hi folks, Matt Easton here, Schola Gladiatoria, and I'm currently at Woolley & Wallace in Salisbury looking at some lots in the upcoming auction at the end of November 2024, and these are two things. Now, do you know what they are? If you know what they are, immediately post down below, because I'm curious to see how many of you know at this point what they are. And now I'm going to tell you. So these are reinforcement plates, sometimes known as guard brace, which fit on the front of pauldrons on Italian style armour. Now anybody who's seen my most recent armour would have recognised these. So the larger plate goes on the left hand side, the smaller plate goes on the right hand side. I'll come back to why in a second. These two plates, incidentally, have been tested metallurgically by Dr. Alan Williams, the Wallace collection, and also they've been featured in things written by and published by Dr. Tobias Capwell, a friend of the channel, and so these have been published and they are currently coming up for sale. So you will see they are black forged on the inside. You can see the sort of forging marks and the sort of unpolished surface on the inside of the plate. So if you've ever wondered, what does a knight's armour look like on the inside? Well, this is it. Obviously, these have been repolished during their life and restored and things like this. So that isn't the original finish, but it gives you an idea of how you can see this kind of pock-marked surface. Because you don't polish the inside of an armour, you don't need to. Moreover, if you leave it rough forged and then you blacken it, oil blacken it or paint it, then it prevents rust. And trust me, rust likes to find places to form on the inside of plate, because when you're in plate harness, you sweat, condensation on the inside of the plate, and it gets rusty very quickly if it's not coated or protected in some kind of way. So these are reinforcement plates that go on the front of pauldrons. So Italian style armour has asymmetrical pauldrons. That is, the pauldron on the left side is smaller than the one on the right side. A few reasons for that. One, the one on the right side has to admit the lance going underneath the arm. Also, the right arm is the one you might hold a sword or a mace or a warhammer in, so you want that one to be a little bit lighter and more manoeuvrable. The left-hand side is more likely to take heavy blows from an opposing incoming lance or a swing from a poleaxe or a sword or whatever else. So the left side needs to be more heavily armoured, or at least in Italian armour. In a lot of German armour it wasn't, incidentally, it was symmetrical. And not just German, but also sometimes French and English armour. But the classic Italian form is this asymmetrical defence. This even follows through to the counters or elbow defences as well. Usually the breastplate, the cuirass and the legs are symmetrical, but the arms on Italian harness are typically asymmetrical. So the reinforcement plate for the right is smaller than the reinforcement plate for the left, and of course this would not allow anything to go under the armpit like a lance, whereas this, being a small one, does that way around, sorry, had it upside down, does allow the passage of the lance couched underneath the armpit. These can also, you'll notice, these can be removed. So these little square holes here, just as on my armour, they go over a peg that is riveted on the front of the pauldron. They go over that peg, and that peg has a hole through it, and you then push a pin into that typically. There are other ways of fixing them on, incidentally. Sometimes they were bolted on permanently. Well, they could be unscrewed, but they were screwed on essentially to the pauldron. But in this case, they were probably had a removable pin. So that's what they are, they're reinforcement plates. And you'll also notice that the upper edge here is turned up, and that is because if an incoming arrow or lance or anything else hits the front of that plate and carries up, just as with modern ballistic armour, you don't want it carrying up into your face or under your helmet, into your neck. So that is a bit like a stop rib, but it's to deflect things away from your helmet or throat, or underneath the helmet essentially. So that's why they're shaped like that. That's what they're for. These are original 15th century, and they have been metallurgically tested and confirmed by Dr. Alan Williams to be probably made in Italy in the mid 15th century, and these are original examples. Unfortunately, we don't have the rest of the harness, but isn't that cool to see some original 15th century reinforcement plates? Really quite similar, mine are gold plated, but really quite similar to the ones on my armour. And it's nice to be able to handle and see these up close for real. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I have been Matt Easton, I will continue to be, and I'll see you back on the channel really soon. Cheers, folks. Thanks for watching. We've got extra videos on Patreon. Please give our Facebook a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers, folks.